Just finished practice number 8. No surprises, no surprise scrimmages or anything up to this point. Everything's been right on time, and it's been good. We had great competition. Got a lot to get better at, but we've really focused on our processes and our mentality, and looking at just staying on schedule when it comes to installation schemes in all 3 phases. But the experience that we had coming back has shown, and really focused on getting those guys better, certainly, and improving every single day, getting our guys to really buy into that shared value system, and making sure we have a great magnifying glass every single day. Everybody having a willingness to look at themselves, and for us as coaches to have a broad lens and a detailed lens on all the little things. Trying to go from good to great is a really small step, but it's the hardest step by a long ways, and we got a long ways to go. But like the attitude and the energy, the focus, we still got lots of details that we got to get better at, and trying to how fast and how quickly can we get this group of guys to become a really good football team, and the test of time will determine that. But our toughness and our commitment are everything. Tough teams win. The most physical teams win. We're trying to develop that brand with this particular team, this year's version of the Oklahoma Sooners, and you've seen some things that you like, and just got to see everything more consistently. That's really what we're pushing for. How consistent can we be, and that'll determine how good we can be.
Brent, how's your injury situation?
It's great. It's good. Right on schedule. You're gonna have some.
Lost anybody?
Like long term?
Yeah.
Other than from what the lost in the spring? No. No. Had a couple guys with, guys getting hit in the thigh board or straining a shoulder, but no tears and that kind of stuff, and no surgeries.
How was a guy like Noah Best to just come in and open? How does he look so far?
Yeah, he's done a good job. He's got a capacity mentally and a capacity to come compete every day that's a little bit abnormal for a freshman. But we've certainly had our share of freshmen that played at a high level. They're few and far between, but up to this point, it's been one of them to be able to do that in both the run game and the pass game, and he's played different positions in the spring, and so we've been able to develop some depth without having depth in numbers. We've been able to develop some depth with position versatility, and Noah, his improvement and his consistency and his toughness, his maturity that he's shown for young players really helped him earn some trust, and that's what it's about. Every day the guys got to come out. They need to grade a winner. Our coaches need to be in alignment with what winning grade looks like, and then earning trust. Be a part of that circle of trust that is really important. As you got about another week to 10 days to really, evaluate that, and then you start to get in the rhythm of your season. And guys can still get in there, as we've seen during the course of the season. It's just a little bit harder to do that, to state your case. And every day these guys have an opportunity to state their case, their readiness and their preparedness. But Noah's done a nice job.
Brent, you talked in before fall camp about having middle depth on defense and kind of wanting to find out who are those guys.
Yeah.
You're 8 practices in. How do you feel about your
Still got a
middle
long way to go.
Yeah.
Like the attitude and the hunger of the guys. We got a long way to go when it comes to that.
What about especially in your front 7 at linebacker, defensive line? How do you feel about some of those guys that you have a bunch of starters returning, but the guys behind those guys?
Yeah, again, I can, individually, you name some guys that have had good camps, Cole and Nesta. So those are guys at linebacker. And again, a guy like PJ and Danny have done a nice job. Jake has done a nice job. And guys inside, I just want to see more of it. Want to see more consistency. We got to strike blocks better. We got to play faster. We got to rush the passer better. We've got to move with more precision, explosiveness, and then again do it every single day. So we're still working on that.
Brent, now that you got on the field with Coach McCullough and Coach Whitten, I know you talked about wanting to be more physical in the run game and more violent there. What have you seen on the practice field so far?
It's better, better than when we were in the spring, and still have work to do.
Brent, you got a really great defense, but you don't have what anybody would call a superstar on defense last year or this year. You like it when it's that way, where just everybody's good and nobody's preseason All-American or projected #1 draft choice or whatever the case may be?
Yeah, I mean, here's how I look at it. Number one, respectfully, it's not a great defense yet, and I'm have an opportunity to be a really good defense. Why do you say that? Because we got guys that are bought in, that have been developed, that have shown they have some type of a body of work that gives you reason to believe if they stay hungry, stay humble, they're willing to show up every day and put the work in, we have a chance to develop into a really good unit. And do I like not have? I have an appreciation for guys that are no-name guys that nobody know a whole lot about. They're not going to be on anybody's All-American list, but play at a All-American level. I like those guys a lot. I've had plenty of them. But I like the guys that are ultra talented that show up, like they're a freshman every day. They show up like, they're trying to breathe as much as they want to play and play at a high level. It means that much to them. And where they're fighting for their success every day and they're leading from the front. And they have a eat off the floor mentality. I want the whole team to have that. And to me, that's having a toughness, a hunger, and a humility that winning requires. And so I like them both, Barry. But at the end of the day, having the same qualities and this same, competitive characteristics are what I look for, whether it's a highly thought of guy or not so highly thought of guy.
Danny was just telling us that when he came in, he wasn't always the most coachable guy, and that it took him a little while to adjust to just college life in general. What sort of maturity or growth have you seen from him on that front?
No, that's fun, to watch that. And believe it or not, there's a lot of guys there's more guys like that than not. And just the mental maturity, let alone the physical maturity and the physical skill set. The mental maturity is a big part of all of the freshmen's transition for the first time in a long time, maybe ever. They're not at the front of the line, and nobody cares about all of the success that they had in the past. And so how they handle that humbling moment is a big thing. Danny was in a long line of guys, but he's grown. His how he talks, how he thinks, how he competes, how he shows up every day. He's listening for the right things. He's listening for the correction. He does hold himself to a really high standard. He's become a more consistent player than at any point in time he was last year. I also think he sees opportunity. And sometimes that's a big part of it. We had a guy several years ago where we had a #1 defense in the country, and we had 8 seniors and 3 first-rounders and 1 first-round linebacker. And his backup was a junior and didn't show up and fight it ever. I got this guy's not going to be able to do it. Well, we lose 8 starters. We come back with 8 new starters and this middle linebacker that just really hard to coach, just had a kind of a pissy attitude every day. And didn't want to be told the truth, and he was funky. I don't like funkiness, bad body language. And this guy comes and has an All-American year and plays 8 years in the NFL. The first rounder didn't last nearly as long in the NFL. And so my point is the maturation process is different for everybody. And sometimes it's just that opportunity. He didn't think he could beat the first rounder out. Mm-hmm. And so he showed up every day like it. And belief is where it all starts. If you don't believe in yourself, nobody will. And the opportunity, this game don't give you nothing. Mm-hmm. And, so the game don't feel bad for you. And your self-pity accelerates failure, right? And so a lot of guys are a victim to themselves that way. And so really proud of Danny and the growth that he's had. He's going to be a big part. If we're going to become the defense that people hope and believe that we are, and we're capable of being, then Danny's going to have to come on and have his best year of football. And several others too. But that's a big part of it, and I think Danny's excited for that opportunity.
Who was that Clemson linebacker?
Oh, this is Clemson. It don't really matter to anybody here. What's that?
I asked who was the Clemson linebacker.
The Clemson linebacker was B.J. Goodson. Yep.
Brent, you've seen from Benny Choice and Elijah Thomas so far in fall camp.
everything that I said about Danny, and I mean that. And different in some ways and the same in others. Manny established himself, and Elijah established themselves on special teams last year. Elijah led our team in points last year, and a huge part. And Manny came on at the end of the year, and all they've done in the off season is just grow and get better. The last several days, Elijah has really done some really good things that lend credibility to taking another jump. And then again, it's for both of them. The test and the real key is, will they show up every single day and work? Ryan Broyles spoke to the team a couple of days ago, and what an amazing story.
Right.
First of all, we offered him, less than 24 hours before signing day in February of his senior year is when he first got an offer. He was going to probably go to Oklahoma State, and he comes to Oklahoma, and then he's a little bit of knucklehead and immature, and so we had to redshirt him his first year. And I think he was out past curfew or something like that. I know exactly what, but we were going to redshirt him. And then this guy has 3 back-to-back 1,000-plus yard seasons, becomes at one point in time the all-time record holder in NCAA history as a receiver. Now I think he's 3rd all-time now, and just amazing career. But the growth, the development, the maturation, the hunger, and that was his message: the hunger to show up every day and to act like you're a walk-on, have an underdog as the ball of muscle, and he's just shy of 300 pounds now, so he's gained, give or take, 45 pounds since he's been here. Through a lot of hard work and dedication, very consistent for young guys, very consistent, doesn't say a whole lot. It's got good block rec, which is kind of a foundational thing for defensive linemen. Everything happens so fast there, so your ability to diagnose and recognize, block recognition is really important so that you don't get knocked off the ball. And so everything starts in the run game. And his ability to hold a gap, his point of attack power and strength have been really good. His fundamentals are pretty good. And then still, he's a work in progress still. And but he's done some really good things. He's got a chance to be a really good player in the future. And hopefully he'll continue to earn the trust of the coaches and be a part of this year's team where he can get in and help and learn and be part of that competitive depth that we've been talking about.
You're the third person to mention his block rec. I mean, is that something that's rare for
like Jaden Jackson had it, and David didn't. David was really powerful and was a pretty good pass rusher, and he did some things naturally, but the fundamentals of block rec weren't quite there yet for him, which is more normal than not. Most guys, it's not. And they get away with it going against 200-pound, 225-pound offensive linemen. Not that all high school offensive linemen are that. But a lot of times, from one week to the next, you might face, some undersized guys that can't fight back and get away with some bad habits, and so you kind of got to start over. But again, Jaden was fantastic. That's why he became a freshman All-American. It started with that, but he played fast. A lot of it too is just the simplicity around him. He got a simple rhythm to his everyday life. You only got 24 hours in the day, so spending them in the right places. Goals aligning with your habits is a big part of it. So some guys got better habits when they come in than others, but that's going to be how this team's defined. Our day-to-day habits need to align with what we say we want to be.
How have you seen the receiving core as a whole develop so far during camp?
Just again, more precise, more explosive. Terrell Harris, and I think it was a 7-on-7 period. He got behind the defense, made an explosive play down the field today. That was great to see. Making competitive plays when there's turbulence. And we faced 8 defenses last year in the top 30, 35 in the country. And so you're going to get some sticky coverage, and there's going to be some turbulence. People are going to be rerouting you, at the line of scrimmage. And then on the way, as you're crossing the field, there's going to be some bumping and elbowing across the field. And you got to be able to make plays, in tight windows and when people are hanging on you, the competitive plays. And we've been better at that. And the defense is good too. Those guys are well coached. They got a lot of pride. They like to win. We've had tons of ball disruption this camp, which shows everything is really nicely coordinated with the first and the second group of guys. as well, both sides. But I think that they are developing an identity as a group, some group pride, which is really important to me. That every unit on the team should strive, and it starts with the coaches, but they should strive to be the best group on the team. What does that mean? Like, show up every day better than everybody else. Bring the juice and the energy for the whole team. Be the toughest, most dependable, most reliable, most accountable group on and off the field. Choose excellence. That's got to be a lifestyle, and be the heart and soul of the locker room. Like, why not you? Why not your group? And I think that's, we should all strive for that. But that's a group that I'm seeing unit pride for the first time in a few years. I just, maybe it's more continuity. It's the guys that came in. It's guys being healthy. That's a group that's developing some pride and confidence through a lot of hard work. And I think we went against each other this summer, close to 1,700 snaps, good against good, and all the player-led practices, some of the stuff that we're allowed to do as well. And it's starting to show, again, confidence and a little more precision, a little more consistency, and there's still room to grow.
Thanks, man.
All right.
Thanks, Coach.
Good to